With this, I'll move to another dynamic lady. फरीदा हमारे साथ हैं माशाल्लाह, और एक लंबी जर्नी है उनकी. और जो अभी ये बात कर रहे थे कि हम यूथ को इन्वॉल्व करें, तो हाउ शी हैज बीन एबल टू अचीव दैट. एक जो ब्यूटीफुल प्रोग्राम है जिसकी डिटेल फरीदा आपको खुद बताएंगी. फरीदा अब्बासी इज द फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ यूथ टुगेदर फॉर ह्यूमन राइट्स एजुकेशन, ग्रीन हाउस अकेडमी. बहुत अकम्पलिश्ड ऑथर है, किताबें लिखी हैं, स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे काम किया है, करिकुलम पे और टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग पे काम कर रही हैं, और यही पैशन और जज्बा ह्यूमन राइट्स के साथ लेके चल रही हैं कि जो हमारी नौजवान नस्ल है, जो हमारे बच्चे हैं, उनको किस तरीके से हम अवेयरनेस दें, बिल्कुल बेसिक लेवल से स्टार्ट करके कि उनको अपने राइट्स का पता चले, फिर उन राइट्स को उन्होंने इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे करना है, प्रोटेक्ट कैसे करना है, एक बेहतरीन शहरी और इस माशरे का एक अच्छा इंसान कैसे बनना है. तो विद मच अडू आई विल मूव टू फरीदा. ओवर टू यू फरीदा.
Thank you very much. Okay, assalamu alaikum everybody. It's nice to have you all here. I am the CEO of Youth Together for Human Rights Education. And basically my dream, I share your dream, we all have the same dream, making human rights a reality in Pakistan. And we all come together so that inshallah we will do this. We can't do it alone, but together we certainly can do it. I'll tell you a little bit about my organization only with the viewpoint that how it can serve and how we can work together and do something. Are we okay? Yes. Have we changed the screen? Yes. Yes. So what are we aiming for? What are we aiming for? What is the vision? And I think everybody has this vision. The NGO is called Youth Together for Human Rights Education. When you create a society where men, women, and children grant respect to each other, irrespective of age, gender, race, religion, ethnicity, or class. I think this सबका dream है. Everybody wants this कि हमें respect मिले, चाहे हम किसी class के citizen हो, औरत हो, आदमी हो, पंजाबी हो, सिंधी हो, बलोची हो. You know, this is it's the main thing of a civilized society. एक society को आप civilized कब बोलेंगे? जब उसमें ये हक मिले, हर बंदे को मिले. So we want to create a society where peace and tolerance prevails, a fair and just society where children grow up reaching their full potential and are rewarded for their own efforts, skills, and contribution. So what does that mean actually? It means that आपको सिफारिश की ज़रूरत नहीं होनी चाहिए to get somewhere. You should be able to use your skills, your abilities, और जो आपकी मेहनत है उसकी बिना पे और आपकी honesty की वजह से, and your hard work, your intelligence, your skills, your attitudes, you achieve your goals in life. And that's what we call having a sane, ethical society, which we want to give to every Pakistani. Is that right? We want to aim in that direction. Our purpose is human rights for all, whether you're from whatever class, whatever ethnicity, whatever gender, we bring human rights to you. That is what we are all gathered here to do. So a brief history about our organization. What have we been doing? I've been myself working in Pakistan since 2001 in the field of human rights, with emphasis on the right to education. So human rights projects have run in Sindh, Punjab, Balochistan, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Educational projects we run in Ministry of Federal Education, Sindh Ministry of Education, specifically in private schools, government schools, university and colleges, all provinces, but our main work has been in Karachi. Who do we serve? We serve students, teachers, parents, businesses, religious leaders too. We bring about knowledge about the human rights to them. We run several workshops for those areas, and in general, we train illiterate, semi-literate, rural and urban people. It doesn't matter. We adjust our workshops and we gear our workshops to the public we are serving so that they are better able to understand the human rights and bring them about in their lives. What has our organization and myself developed? We have got a fast-track curriculum. That means that students who have lagged behind in education, say we have got a lot of street kids, youth that have never been to school or dropped out of school and are labeled illiterate. We provide a fast-track curriculum and we get them within, we've just recently completed a project in which we took students who could hardly hold a pen, you know, they weren't familiar with writing at all, and we managed to get them, the majority of them, into secondary school within a period of 2 years. This is through our fast-track curriculum. We have a curriculum for pre-primary to secondary schooling, and what do I mean by that? I mean, we don't have books and that are based on memorizing stuff. All our curriculum is based on understanding the knowledge and actually applying that knowledge to life. So we are trying to overcome the current barriers of education in Pakistan by providing such a curriculum so the child can actually see themselves learning things and being able to use and develop better things than what is in the present world. And that is the purpose of education. We do a lot of skills development. We have a curriculum for that. So leadership skills, conflict resolution, presentation skills, study skills, and most of all, critical thinking skills. We put a lot of emphasis on that. Our whole curriculum is directed towards knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Attitudes getting a major emphasis because with that, you can use the knowledge and skills correctly. I am the author of several books, and including one which has the do's and don'ts of parents. What is our vision? We have worked basically on the main human right, which I consider is the way to change Pakistan in the most speedy and stable way, and that is through education. That is a basic human right. And our vision is to have our children grow up reaching their full potential so they are rewarded for their own efforts, skills, and contribution. And I write the definition of what is a school. It is not something that gives you a certificate that you've done your GCSE or matriculation or whatever. It is a place where children go to learn and get prepared for living their life independently. That means they can make their own decisions. They can choose what is right and wrong, taking care of their own needs as well as taking care of the society and what is best for mankind. So in that sense, our education is directed towards quality education and bringing that individual to realize their full potential in their life. I'll show you a few photographs of the work we have done with children. We worked in secondary and primary schools. I have to say, those people who are attending our, this Zoom meeting, that you will also be going out and we'll be training you to deliver workshops in different schools and how to deliver them, how to bring the impact. We don't run short-term projects. We don't want a publicity stunt. We actually take on long-term a school, and we work with children over long-term with teachers, and we train them up so that they can actually realize their what are the correct attitudes, what are the human rights, what are rights for themselves and rights for other students as well. And it's very easy, to teach children these things and a little bit harder to teach grown-ups. So you can see it's inherent in the way God has created us that we naturally care about the rights of others, and our culture and our ways somehow dampen that. And it's very easy to bring it back to life in a child, but we too are trying to get to be as perfect as a newborn child or a new 2-year-old who's very keen on giving everybody their rights. And I think we have all that within our hearts to do that. So children's achievements, this is also I'm showing you because those people who will receive training from us, they will be running programs in schools, and we very much bring about whatever training is done in terms of practical application in schools to instill the values in children. So we celebrate different days like International Peace Day or World Teachers Day or Human Rights Day. And you can see the children planting trees here, signing a pledge, conducting plays to bring about the values of human rights. One of the most important areas in our training is parent training. Any project that I do and my team does, it involves parent training. Why do we do that? You would think, well, why is that necessary? I think you can see it's very much necessary because if you train your child, if you train in our participants in this, don't discriminate. आप नहीं करें discriminate between different religions. आप discriminate ना करें gender में, और वो घर जाते हैं और वही उसका उलट हो रहा होता है. तो बच्चे के माइंड में बड़ा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पैदा हो जाता है कि टीचर ये बोल रही है और अम्मी अबू तो कुछ और बात कर रहे हैं इसके बारे में. So we include parent training in our projects, and we insist that they come every fortnight and they learn something new. And parents want the best for their children. They always do. They just need to be convinced that this is good for their children. So they're very willing to learn. And we consider this very much a part of our projects or any work that we do. So we built, this is just showing you that we don't restrict ourselves to towns. We also worked in remote villages. And this is in a more court that we did. These people didn't even have running water. We provided water over there. These children had no hope for education. And we started the primary school there. And you can see how enthusiastic the mums are. They're so happy, that their children got a chance to get educated. So the people of Pakistan are so beautiful and lovely. And they all deserve these 30 human rights. And inshallah, together, we will bring about these rights for them. This is the area where my most focus is on this area, and teacher training. And you could ask, why is it? And I think you all will agree with me that one teacher impacts not on 100 or 1,000 teachers in her lifetime. She might go as far as 10,000 children she impacts. Now, if she is not applying human rights, or she doesn't know child rights, and by the way, the Constitution of Pakistan does say that every teacher should know child rights, but we know that they don't know these rights, and it is our duty to make sure that every teacher knows the child rights. We have 30 rights, but children have 54 rights. And it's absolutely important that a teacher should know those 54 rights so that she can grant the children those rights in the classroom. And if she exemplifies giving those rights, the child learns from the teacher. Even in my school, the children go home and tell their parents, teacher ne bola hai, teacher ne bola hai. They undermine their parents even for the sake of the teacher. So we have to have role models in our teacher applying human rights. It's it's so necessary. There's one teacher we had, with us, and she was undergoing training. And she said, I used to always treat students. I find now after your workshop that I realize I treated the students disrespectfully. I believe that to handle anything that was wrong, बच्चा badly behave कर रहा है या homework नहीं कर रहा है, तो उसका तरीका क्या है कि उसको smack करो या उसको shout करो उसके ऊपर, तो खूब डांट कराओ, एक थप्पड़ मारो. This was her handling, and she thought that was the correct handling. That's what she had experienced in her life. So why shouldn't she give the same handling to somebody else? It maybe worked on her. So she was doing it for other children. But she realized that she was actually teaching them through her behavior how to handle something you don't like. What do? You shout at them and you smack them. So when she looked in the playground and everywhere, she said they also do the same. They don't like something, smack and shout. So she came to realize that she had to exemplify good behavior, and she had to give them the right, the respect, which is what, we are talking about. Human rights is about giving respect to somebody just because you're human. And that's what we had to instill in our teacher training program so that teachers could do that. And we also gave a lot of emphasis to the teacher understanding her subject, because that's one of the other areas where we, we really lower the standard of education because the teacher herself doesn't know the subject very well or the practical application for it. So the passion needs to be there for the teacher to actually know her subject and create and transfer that passion into her students. So you, whoever, is working with us, are in this team to bring about human rights, you will be training teachers. We will train you to train teachers. And that is how you will take the movement forward, and they will train their students. And inshallah, we'll have a big movement moving forward in this direction. What else have we done? We've worked with universities and colleges. And this is, we in Karachi, we work with Karachi University, Maju, NED, and we run programs with them and get the youth involved, get them to work in other schools, do their internships, we certify them so that they have practical application of putting human rights into their communities, into their neighborhoods. Our whole philosophy is of inclusion, because human rights cannot be brought about alone. No NGO can do it, no government can do it. So we are saying that we try to work with every NGO, we train people in different NGOs, we work with the media, and we work with, carry out different walks so that we can create a big group and an agreement on human rights. This tells you that what your role will be also. You will also be going on TV programs when we train you. You will also be conducting them. You will also be training parents, teachers, and students. So let's see what is the existing scene in Pakistan. Let's just look at what are we dealing with, because as leaders in this area, we need to first admit what the situation is and see what we can do about it then, right? So what is the existing scene in Pakistan? Let's look at that. We are saying the literacy rate, unfortunately, this is the March 2020 statistics from UNESCO. It says it's lowered from 60% to 58%. 23 million children are unable to go to school. Only 70% of Pakistan attend primary school in Pakistan. 24% of the entire Pakistani population lives below the poverty line. 30% of the children are underweight. More than 50% suffer from stunted growth. That means aapka kad nahi jata us height tak jahan tak jana chahiye, because your nutrition and what you're being fed is not up to the mark. 32% of marriages in Pakistan are actually child marriages, which is very sad indeed. Over 3 million estimated people are living in modern day slavery. And amongst all the countries, our statistic is not very good. We are the 8th ranking there. So we need to improve on that. So on the left-hand side, you see the literacy statistics of different provinces, and you can see there's a lot of room for improvement there. On the Children's Rights Index, we are put in the black level. It's a very serious situation. And black level say, आपसे अगर हमसे पूछा जाए कि किसकी जिम्मेवारी है, बच्चों के हक किसकी जिम्मेवारी है? And what would we, each of us, say? It would be that every adult is responsible for a child's right. The child can't do anything. We have to do something. So that's why we are all gathered here today, to bring that about, because that child needs us, and we should bring that right to those children. Pakistan ranks 120 amongst a list of countries with least corruption. Here again, we can bring improvement. We can change this if we are all determined and if we all work as a group. So now we need to see what should be our strategy. This is the existing scene, and we all know the ideal scene. The ideal scene is every citizen in Pakistan has their 30 human rights. Yes? So we are saying, okay, at the moment, whatever plans we are doing, and Pakistan has a lot of plans. We make lots of big plans every year, and we go fully enthusiastically to meet those plans. But whatever we are doing as a plan, what is it giving us? क्या दे रहा है हमें? Corruption दे रहा है, electricity shortage दे रहा है, water shortage दे रहा है, poor state of education, limited health facilities, torture is present, slavery is present, discrimination is present. There's limited religious freedom, gender discrimination, and the list goes on. So whatever we are doing, we need to not do that, because it's not leading in the right direction. And what is it that we really want to do? What is it that we really want? We want to make Pakistan stable. We want to make Pakistan peaceful. We want to make Pakistan with justice and rights for all in Pakistan. This is what each one of us wants in Pakistan, right? So what is the plan that we are following? It's not bringing results. What are our options now? Let's look at what our options are. So our options are do nothing, do exactly what we are doing now. We could react violently. We could protest, we could break things, make a big noise, we could do that, or we could form a strategy. We have these three ways to proceed. So let's look at do nothing. What would be the outcome of do nothing? And this is not do nothing at a government level or at an NGO level, because NGOs are functioning, and government is also doing its efforts. They are working in this direction. It's not like they're not working. They are. They work very hard in it. They spend money on it, but the change is not coming. So do nothing. What will what does that entail? That means that the individual continues to do what they're currently doing. Most of the Pakistanis need to get involved. They're not involved in this problem. They need to get involved and fix it. So they need to do something. If they continue the way we are doing now, if we continue to do what every citizen is doing now in Pakistan, the situation will worsen. It won't get better. I think you'll agree with me. If people don't get involved, we've seen the situation, the statistics getting worse and things not improving. So doing nothing is not an option. What's the next option we have? We could react violently. We could make a lot of fuss and stand out on the roads and protest and do breakage or whatever. So this I'm showing you analysis of campaigns that are non-violent and violent and a comparison between them. So here we see that the violence is not a solution. Why? Because from 1900 to 2006, non-violent campaigns worldwide were twice as likely to succeed as the violent campaigns. So they don't succeed. The violent campaigns don't bring the success that we want. And going forward on this one, if you look at it a bit more, you can see over from 1940 to 2006, when the surveys have been done, it's the non-violent campaigns that have won, and they're decreasing in number as well, the violent campaigns, because they don't bring the result. So there's one very interesting statistic here that I want to share with you, that what is it that takes a campaign to be successful? We all want to know that because we want human rights in Pakistan and we want to succeed. So what is it that is needed to bring about success in Pakistan? How many people do you need in order to support a campaign for it to succeed? This is a question we should ask ourselves, that what is the number of people that we need to campaign succeed karega? So this survey showed that no campaign failed when they achieved active and sustained participation of 3.5%. So that means active and sustained participation. It doesn't mean कि आपने एक workshop दिया और फिर आप बैठ गए पीछे. It means active and sustained over a period. You just need 3.5% of the population on our side. So we have a population of 220 million people. So 3.5% would be 7.7 million people. That's all we need to bring about, those people who are active and sustained participation on human rights. And what happens if you reach that figure? What happens if you reach the 3.5% figure? What happens is that no government can withstand a challenge of 3.5% of its population without either accommodating what they say, or in extreme cases, they disintegrate. That means वो खत्म हो जाती है, या वो government खत्म हो जाती है, या आपका साथ देती है. So that's what we are trying to create, a force that brings about an agreement of human rights, and we want 7.7 million people on our side to bring it to all the people of Pakistan. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I can't hear you, but I'm hoping that you are listening and it interests you what I'm saying. So what is the strategy we should go towards? We need to have a strategy, and that is our strategy. It's a non-violent campaign, and we are going to activate 7.7 million people in Pakistan who will have a sustained working force that works towards this goal. So human rights for individuals, how do they come about? They come about by agreements. You could say, well, who brings them? And it's the people who bring them right through history. Even if you go back 600 BC, in the Cyrus the Great, and it all started with people standing up for their rights. आप कह सकते हैं कि यूके में लोगों को क्यों rights हैं, human rights, or why do people in France or Sweden have it and people in Bangladesh or Pakistan and other areas don't have it? And the answer is what? The answer is that we as individuals need to take responsibility. We can't leave it to the NGOs or to the governments. We have to stand up for our own rights and for the rights of our brothers and sisters and work together to bring it about. So the agreements, we said human rights are based on agreements, and 196 countries in the world have formed this agreement. They've formed this agreement of 30 human rights. You can see how COVID-19 is not one, it's not isolated, it affects the whole world. Well, human rights is the same. You leave, a few kids illiterate, you don't educate them, you don't give them human rights. Can it impact the world? Yes, it can. It's our communication systems are so good now, and we can reach so far that we've seen destructive movements reach far and wide. So that is why the United Nations is there to bring human rights to every citizen in the world, but every country and every person, every citizen has to play their part. And Aruj was talking about, the sustainable development goals, and here they are. And just recently, the 2030 goals have been talked about and new plans have been made for Pakistan. And, we can in our next session or some session go over how Pakistan has done in the previous, SDG goals. But you can see there are no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, everything that you've been talking about, that we all want these things for our citizens, and it's their right because they are human. It's just simply their right. And together we can, inshallah, bring that about. So I now, want to just show you a brief strategy of how we are going to do this. How is this organization going to work together and bring about what we are aiming for, which is making human rights a reality for the people of Pakistan? So what we are looking at is training public. You could say we've been training public for years and it hasn't changed. So what is so different about our training? Yes, it's true, a lot of workshops have been held and a lot of books have been circulated, and the change we wanted to see needs to be brought about by a training that actually penetrates the individual. It empowers the person, and that is what our training is about. That is where we specialize. So in step one, we are training the public, and we have various levels of training, and there are trainings and internships, so you actually do practical work, you are giving knowledge, you're given skills, and you have the actual character to actually do those things in the field and bring change about. So the training and internship brings about you as an empowered person, then you can empower others in whether it be in your home or in your schools or in any place you go, you can help others and empower them, who in turn they can stand up for their rights and they can stand up for other people's rights. So you create a rippling effect across your community. And as you receive more and more training, you form your own teams and you have a bigger structure, and together you can then work to improve cities and towns, and you can train people there, and you can reach businesses, you can reach schools, you can reach, in the hospitals, you can train nurses on human rights. They need to also, every society, every profession, any professional should know their 30 human rights. This should be a basic requirement for getting a job. Do you know your 30 human rights? This is how we should, implement it across businesses and across any profession that anybody takes on. So as you train more and more people yourself, you also need to be sending them back to us so we have a force and increase their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And in this way, we bring about the figure of 7.7 million of sustained application of people working in the field. So that's how we work. We will work on it, and I hope you agree with me that this is a workable strategy, and if we work together on it, we can bring about change. For you as a person, for those people training with us, what will they get? Well, trainings and internships are for you. As I said, knowledge in itself doesn't go very far. And when I say knowledge, I mean actually knowledge with application, not just memorizing 30 human rights. You have to understand them. You have to understand their application. But then with that, you also need skills. What kind of skills? Well, there are a number of skills you need, but you need to be able to present, you need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to, listen to somebody, conflict resolution, and a range of skills you will need, including leadership, and trying to organize yourself, trying to run teams. All this training can be given to you so that you're more effective in the field. And the most important element of our training is attitudes. The attitudes is a very, very important element, because you see in our education system, we have a very highly qualified people. We have highly skilled people. But if a doctor has got the knowledge and the skills, but hasn't got the right attitude of listening to the patient or, granting them the respect, I wouldn't say that that is really good service. And that applies to all professions. The attitudes need to be of serving other people, of your life being of use to other people. And our training, puts that as part of every course we run. We emphasize the attitude with which you need to work and serve society. So each training level gives you a certificate. It enables you to help at an individual level. You can give your training workshops and create your teams and grow stronger. And whatever training you receive, whether it's level 1 or highest level 10, 12 levels of training, you will see improvement in your own personal life, and you will see improvement also in your professional life. But most of all, you will be building communities, making human rights a reality for the people of Pakistan. So our curriculum is quite expansive. I'm just giving you, I'm not going to go through this, but I'm just telling you we have a whole range of levels of courses where we train people on different areas with the purpose of bringing human rights to all. And our motto still remains this, that human rights for all, for every section of society, and we want to take responsibility and bring that about. The first level course that we are aiming to run is a 2-day course. It's a Zoom course, and we want to give you an idea about what is your role and responsibility and what are your human rights. And the result should be from this course that we want every participant to get is to know the importance of human rights for themselves and how it impacts on their personal and professional life. How will it improve both their personal and their professional life? By applying what has been learned on the course, the student is able to will be able to successfully change the lives of others for the better. This will be part of that course, that you should be able to do that with the knowledge that you gain. So what is it we are aiming for? You see these students, do they look happy students? So these are the street kids that we took on for 2 years, and they all had missed out on primary education, and we trained them up, and within 2 years you can see how happy and how full of potential they are. And we brought them, most of them joined secondary school within 2 years. They had so much enthusiasm, and they were so happy to be given a chance. एक दूसरा चांस मिल जाता है लाइफ का. आपको इलिटरेट, हमारे ऊपर कोई इलिटरेट का लेबल लगाएगा, हमें कितना बुरा लगेगा. और इन बच्चों पे लग गया था और कोई हटा नहीं सकता था. And we took these 50 students on, and we removed the label from them, and we made them join mainstream education. So it was a real pleasure doing this. And what is social responsibility? for each one of us, it's when we stand up and do something, when we see something is wrong in society, we contribute ethically and are sensitive to the needs of other people, whoever they are in society. And that is what it's all about, the work we do. And inshallah, we will all be socially responsible in bringing change to Pakistan. This is a favorite quote of mine, and I apply it. And I think it applies to all of us together who have come today. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So inshallah, we will do this together. And I look forward to seeing everybody who's interested on the course. I thank you very much for listening to me. And inshallah, we will do great work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fareeda. So kind.